I'm really beginning to lose faith in the way this case is going. Hey guys, this is Jules with True Crime Reactions. I have an update for you guys when it comes to Noel Rodriguez Alvarez, the 6-year-old little boy that is missing out of Everman, Texas. Now, whenever I say that I'm losing faith in the case, look, don't get me wrong, okay? Everman PD, they are kicking ass, okay? They are working really, really, really well with such a big, at this point, sort of high-profile-ish case, because at this point, it's basically reached the world. Remember, his mother and the stepfather and the rest of his siblings that they took with them are in India, so the FBI is involved in getting this case handled. But therein lies the reason why I state I'm losing faith in this case. Now hear me out. We see what's happening in Shanquella Robinson's case. We have all of this crazy nonsense going on, videos of her getting the crap beat out of her, all these testimonies that are going back and forth and lies that are being unfolded with the people that are responsible and the authorities and the doctors and everything going on in Mexico versus what's going on in the United States. And it has been up to the feds to help the situation so that Shanquella gets justice. From what I'm understanding, it doesn't really matter how hard Everman PD works at this case. It doesn't matter how diligent and to the bone they work to try to get justice for Noel. Apprehending the mother and the stepfather is literally in the hands of the FBI. The only thing that Everman PD can do is the exact same thing that Mexico claims to have done in Shanquella's case. Give everything they have to the feds. It is up to the feds because they are the only ones with the right jurisdiction to go to India and drag them back by their hair. Well, I'm not going to give up on this case, so we're just going to keep talking about it regardless of how pathetic our government ends up doing this situation. I'm going to want to believe that our government would deem Noel's poor little baby self worthy enough to send a team of 2 people over to India to drag these a-holes back here, but something just tells me that they won't. But I took notes on today's updates, and honestly, it wasn't really too much. Now, there was a big old bombshell, but it wasn't surprising at the same time. We'll get to that. Now, I want to start out by stating that over this weekend, they completed a search with Texar again, and with Texas AccuSearch. Now, we know about the AccuSearch teams from the Dylan Rounds case. They do great things. And so far, these search teams, the Fed teams, the other volunteer teams, Everman PD, they have utilized everything from horses to LiDAR, okay? Like, they are putting it all on the line and doing everything they can in this case. It is so apparent. Something interesting that was stated is that a few items were taken in on this search. It's a little strange because they're not telling us anything about it, which I understand, but these items were found during this past weekend's search, but at different locations during the search. And because they don't know for certain if they're associated at all with what's going on with Noel, they're not telling us anything, like I stated. They have sent everything that they did collect over to the Texas DPS lab that they use, and if anything comes of it, they're going to release the information. They have a whole lot more data coming back, like cellular data, bank data, all that stuff. So far, with what they found, if you guys haven't seen the headline already over the past few hours, they found out that just a few hours before the stepfather, Archdeep, and everyone else fled the country on that flight to India, he went to like the main office for his boss, finagled the books, and stole $10,000. He fraudulently went into the cash deposit records and changed them, and then removed the $10,000 from the actual like safe that was in the office. So here's a question I have. Because they've pretty much narrowed down the timeline of what they are deeming to believe to be when Noel passed away to the last week or so of October, and obviously between then and November the 1st, like a weekish span. And they claim that the twins were discharged in mid-October, and people claim to have seen Noel at the residence within a week or so after the twins were home. And then we know that she started getting passport photos on the 1st of November, and Noel wasn't included. And then the passport applications were then done on the 2nd of November, and again, Noel was not included. So it has to be within that, like, what, 10-ish day at the maximum time frame that whatever happened to Noel happened. What is so interesting about that is that it makes you wonder if it took the company this long to even understand that he stole $10,000. I highly doubt, and I could be wrong, but I highly doubt that he went in there and had the time to sit there in a panic, in a rush, while trying to fly out of the country and finagle the cash deposits like on the spot to where the company didn't notice. I feel like around the time that all this probably happened, they had to start scheming, right? Because obviously passport photos came real quick after the time that they think this happened. So I'm wondering if he was kind of like messing with the deposits the entire time up until it was going to be needed. That way he could just go in there and take the money like right then and there, instead of having to do the dirty work while in a panic and in a rush and like mess something up. Because obviously, like I said, the company didn't even know until the police got track of an $8,000 deposit that was made into the bank. Because this idiot, and I'm going to say idiot, besides the fact of whatever else is happening right now, this idiot not only stole $10,000 from his company in cash that was already like gonna be pretty much untraceable, especially after they got overseas and currency transfers had to happen, right? Instead, he goes and deposits $8,000 into a bank account. Well, that comes with a card that you have to use where your transactions are followed. So that wasn't a very smart move at all. And then apparently the plane tickets that we've questioned because of how horrible these people lived and how they just had thousands of dollars to spend on these last minute tickets for 8. Yeah, it wasn't even with this $10,000 worth of cash. He used a credit card, something else that was completely and very easily traceable. I don't understand having $10,000 in cash to get away with and you put it in the bank. That's just so stupid. So then he was asked about landfills, and I guess that kind of answers my question about the carpet. Because remember they stated that canines hit, death scent canines hit on the topsoil where the concrete patio was. And they also hit on a carpet that used to be in that exact same spot, but that they were hit on 2 different locations. And we knew that we were told that the stepdad threw away a carpet like the night before they fled the country. So that would mean that it must have been still in the dumpster where he threw it away whenever they were searching the area with the canines, for the canines to have been able to hit on it in 2 different locations. And then now they're basically stating they haven't done any landfill searches. Because that was my first thing, was like, okay, well, if he threw it in a dumpster, it's been a few weeks now. If they have it for the canines to have hit on in the first place, then they must have gotten it like out of the dump. But I guess they didn't. It must have been still in the dumpster or wherever the bigger trash can area was by the actual house where it got thrown away. Okay, so then we talk about the concrete again, and he makes a comment, the chief of police makes a comment about how they spent basically their entire tax return on this concrete patio. Okay. Now, whenever the contractor was spoken to, we not only found out that all of the concrete work was done within a month of them fleeing the country, but that there was a certain portion of the concrete that she wanted laid thicker. Okay, well, at this point, the concrete has been broken apart and everything has been completely dug up, and Noel's baby body is not there. So it's really strange that not only did she go back and forth with her mind on the concrete patio and then want portions of it thicker, but what are you covering up besides the fact he used to be there? And where in the hell did his body get moved? Because that's the real question here. They obviously have proof that something that was no longer alive was in that spot. All of the behaviors and all of the circumstantial evidence that are being found is obviously pointing to they did something bad. They were trying to figure out how to get away with it. The money hit from the taxes. They found a way to cover up where he used to be. But where is he now? Where is he? And when it comes to them planning and all these other things, they were planning and looking up the trip to India as of November the 6th. So this has been in the works for a while. They have had months before anyone ever reported that they hadn't seen Noel. This was November. He was reported as an anonymous tip to CPS on March the 20th. That is 5 months that no one said a word about him being missing. So they were preparing and getting ready and getting all their ducks in a row for 5 months. Disgusting. And all of this crazy information is just what they've been able to release to us. The chief made it very clear there is a lot more details that we do not know. Why are the feds not taking this more seriously and going to get these people? They have the warrants. Let's just go through the charges. I remember I wrote them down because I was like, what are all the charges so far? Because I don't understand why we're not taking this more seriously. They have 5 charges between them. So let's look. The mother has false information for a missing child charges and then a violation of probation charge. The dad now has, well, the stepdad now has the felony theft charge, and they both have felony 2 charges for abandoning and endangering a child. Okay, but what about the other kids? Because if you guys think that, you know, Noel's dead, and obviously you guys think that the parents did it, what about the welfare of the other 6 children? Because we don't know if they have killed them yet or not. They might be so deep into the run and freaking out over what's happening that they might deem those kids just a hindrance and they might get rid of them too. We don't know. If you can kill one kid, why would anyone not put it past them to kill the other ones? I mean, just for the safety of those other kids alone, I think the feds should be taking this a lot more seriously. I just really hate the fact that that sentence was said today because it just immediately, like, drained me. Like, I was, like, obviously not happy about the news because we still haven't found the poor baby. But I was glad that they were giving us, like, more information and they were finding more information and maybe getting closer to being able to figure out where these a-holes went. But then the second they said, we're giving everything we can to the FBI and they're the ones responsible for getting them back here, that is out of our hands. I just felt the energy, like, leave me. It just makes me sad. But yeah, that's it for the updates. See y'all.